When a human body and a marker signal love each other very much, it results in a pregnant necromorph. And now with that disturbing imagery in your head, let's dive into the lore and morphology of Dead Space pregnant necromorph and find out what exactly this thing is carrying. A pregnant necromorph is going to consist of a single person, albeit they are going to be heavily mutated and pushed beyond their normal human form. I have a theory as to why this is the case, but we will be covering that shortly. Mainly just remember that with the biomass here to create this creature, it's going to be well beyond anything considered normal. The appearance of a pregnant necromorph is going to be a lumbering, massive creature, but it sports a few morphological changes that make it quite different besides the apparent bloated stomach. These changes are going to be necessary for the motility of the creature as it finds surviving humans and takes them out. Starting with the feet per usual, this is going to be a rather interesting section of the body. The feet themselves have shifted into position to match that of a canine or feline. The structure of the overall leg is going to be, for those at least that watch the Watchmen episode, known as digitigrade. These feet are going to be spread out in 3 long toes, giving them gripping power on the ground while it still walks. The feet have been angled upward at a 90-degree angle, creating a third section of the leg. Though for clarity, it is not the leg, it's still going to be the remaining foot. Moving up the leg where the skin and calf would be, it has become quite stubby in appearance. Measuring only half the length of the foot due to the size of the creature, this may just be an illusion. It is entirely possible that the foot was lengthened, but the tibia and fibia remained their normal size. The knees have bent back and are still going to be quite functional. Think of it as kind of standing and then folding your leg underneath you while you are standing. That is going to be the overall structure of the leg. Overall, the size of the legs are going to be shorter and stocky. They're going to be very powerful and allow the creature to move forward towards its intended target. However, due to their structure, the size of the legs are not going to give them the agility or speed in the slightest. That might actually be beneficial for their hunting. Now we come to the abdomen area. This is where the creature actually gets its name from, as to be expected. The abdomen area has become quite swollen and a smooth yellow membrane can be seen. What you may not notice is this creature grew rather rapidly post-mortem and these strings of skin can be seen stretching across the abdomen area, but for the most part the skin is ripped to shreds, exposing a pregnant kind of sac. Here's why I love being a biologist. Let's theorize as to what this pregnant sac actually is. Well, judging by the fact that it is indeed a sac, I mean, clearly the most obvious answer would be it's the literal stomach of the person expanded to a ridiculous size, right? Well, I'm not so certain that's exactly what it is. If the stomach was expanded to a ridiculous size, it would still just be an empty sac. So where does the swarmer offspring actually come from? An answer to this is that it's not the stomach at all, like it has been theorized, but it appears to me that the creature's abdomen area has expanded and we are looking at the abdominal muscles post-mortem, which would mean that the swarmers themselves are more than likely going to be the remains of the necrotic intestines. Moving up the frame, we get to the arms. Well, 2 sets of arms. Some slashers become the versions who have the blades that come out of their hands, and others have new arms composed of muscle and bone coming from the shoulder blades. The pregnant is going to be the latter over the former. The human arms have actually ended up fusing with the sides of the abdominal area, which gives it a much wider appearance if you've ever wondered why they do appear so large. The new shoulder joints are going to be quite thick and actually appear to come out of the tops of the shoulders rather than the back of the shoulder blades. This gives the pregnant the appearance that those are actually going to be its regular operable arms. The arms are going to appear yellow and red in color. This actually leads credence to my earlier theory that the sac is composed of the abdominal muscle, as clearly the muscle on this creature has turned yellow. If the infector episode is anything to go off of, then I guess the reasoning behind this is that the yellow fluid or bacteria has permeated every part of this creature, which may also explain why the swarmers, being the intestines, as clearly they have their own goals and dreams despite being housed in a larger necromorph. The blades of the pregnant are nothing to joke about. If the slasher's claws are a butcher knife, then the pregnant necromorph is going to be holding 2 meat cleavers. These claws are at minimum half the size of its arms and are exceedingly powerful. Getting in close will be a death sentence to any human not wearing rig armor, and even with armor it is no guarantee they'll survive the onslaught. Coming to the head, we see that it sits at a forward angle rather than at the top of the body. This is more than likely due to the fact that the arms have emerged out of the top of the shoulder blades. The bone and muscle seems to have pressed the head down and out of the way. The head itself supports a relatively human form, possibly the most human form we've actually seen. Concerning the head, that is. The ears can be seen to a certain degree, but no hair exists on the top of the head. The eyes may still be there, but there is a shadow cast over them, so at minimum they are exceedingly dark. The lower jaw has been lost or absorbed by the body at some point. What has replaced it is going to be be 3 hanging tentacles. They are strong enough, though not exhibited in game. This could be enough to give the pregnant an ability to hold on to people. Also, just a bit of side lore for you guys, outside of the games, the pregnant necromorphs are going to be much more terrifying, standing anywhere from 10 to 12 feet tall, or 3.048 to 3.658 meters tall. They are a force to be reckoned with. In-game, however, they are a little taller than Isaac, standing at about 6.5 feet or 1.98 meters. Much more manageable in-game than what originally they should have looked like. Now, let's round trip this thing and discuss where the extra mass comes from. First and foremost, this creature appears that it is not a pregnant woman and can really actually be either male or female. As far as we know, while the marker signal emits energy, it can't exactly create mass. As we all know, mass and energy are related to one another, thanks Einstein. Anyhow, that means that the biomass must have existed on the person pre-mortem. Therefore, this was more than likely going to be a much larger person. The extra fat stores on the body were presumably going to be converted after death due to the abundance of it into swarmers along with the intestines. This would explain a lot concerning the distended stomach, as before they were converted, the stomach was probably already going to be larger, but it would also explain the color of the pregnant. I mentioned earlier that the yellow fluid infecting the body, but the other option, knowing what we know about human biology, is that fat tissue is going to be yellow in color. The pregnant appears to have yellow all throughout its body, suggesting that it is covered in a fatty tissue. An interesting reason that I believe that they actually might be covered in adipose tissue is because if you come across the officers' quarters, you will find 4 pregnants in there. Now, when you go through the military, typically if you become high enough ranking, you're going to be older, and I believe that the physical qualifications are going to be much less than that of a lower ranking soldier. So this would explain why the officers on the Ishimura are actually going to be pregnants, as they more than likely contained more fatty tissue on their body as they lived a more sedentary lifestyle. But hey, that's just a theory. Oh wait, wrong channel. Never mind. So, what happens when you get close to a pregnant? Well, this thing is going to have a couple modes of attacks at its disposal. First and foremost, it's meat cleavers. These cleavers can be used to completely slice Isaac in half, or at minimum, some of his limbs. But at this point, you are going to be mega dead, my dude. The next one is going to be sort of like a kamikaze attack. If the creature has sustained enough damage, it will then slice open its abdomen, releasing hundreds of swarmers who will begin making their way towards you. At this point, they will become your main target instead of the pregnant, because if they are successful in reaching you, they will use their powerful jaws to bite through your armor and begin taking chunks out of you. The first few chunks won't really matter, but eventually they will start hitting something completely vital to your existence. So there really is no counter animation for Isaac when it comes to being attacked by a pregnant, but just to note for future attacks, shooting the arms and head is preferable in killing this creature. If you end up damaging the abdomen area, the swarmers will then be released. And then...
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
Okay, so now you know the lore and morphology as well as the theorized origins of the pregnant necromorph. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy it, liking is a great way to actually help out the video, as well as commenting what you think, believe it or not. First, because I actually enjoy interacting with y'all, but second, because something about the interactions on the page, I don't know, it does something with the video. If you did like it enough and are new, subscribing and hitting the notification bell is the best way to stay up to date when I post. Speaking of notification bell, if you haven't re-tagged it and you are part of the notification squad on this, it's messed up and you have to refresh it, but I don't think I'm going to mention that in the next video. Just want to mention this one in case there's any other stragglers, because this is Dead Space and seems to be what people show up for. Also, I am on the cusp of branching out into the solo Who Would Win episodes. Hidden Xperia and I have done a lot of collabs, but what do you guys think about the matchup between the Halo brutes and the Dead Space brutes? Could be a pretty interesting topic, so expect that in the future. So I will drop my Discord, Twitter, and Patreon links in the description. Twitter is a great way to stay updated, as YouTube appears to not be pushing my notifications to people apparently. Some sort of technical issue. Anyhow, I think my current patrons, our scientists, are going to be Layla Alizarin, who has been holding it down for 3 months at this point. Thank you for your continued support. Then we got your boy Master BC, who's been holding it down for 2 months, and thank you, my guy, I appreciate that. And then we have a Laurantis. Our residents are going to be G. Anderson, Richard Muhlenberg, Alex Parks, and Miscellaneous Militaria. Thanks, guys. Next up, our geneticists are Andrew Lawson, Divine Whisper, and John Russo. With their masters in biology, we have Adam Hartswick, Brian H. Briggs, Cameron Smith, Chase Drink, so do I, Cody G. Rice, Javier D. Rodriguez, Laffy No Skill, Scott Grant, and the Otterman. And last but not least, with their bachelors in morphological sciences, we have a Big Fat Snake, a Hegao Comics, Average Soul, Dustin Ellis, Eric Scott Gillies, Jacob and Pisoni, Joseph Radical, Natsuki Chiaki, and One Tired Slob. Thank you guys for your continued support, and to the new people who have joined. So, expect more Versus episodes in the future. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day or night whenever you're watching this, and I will see y'all in the next one.